I am Dr. Tukaram Jamale. I am a consultant nephrologist and a kidney transplant physician. So, what I am going to do in this small lecture is to give you an understanding of what are our kidneys, what function they do, what are common diseases that affect our kidneys, and what are various treatment options that patients with kidney disease can have. So, let's begin with what are our kidneys and what do they do. So each one of us have two kidneys. They are bean-shaped organ, about size of your fist. They are situated at your back along the spine. So these are about 150 to 200 grams is their weight. So to begin with, let's understand what functions are that our kidneys perform day-to-day life. So everybody knows that kidneys, they perform the function of excretion. Which means that they throw away the waste products that accumulate in our blood as a part of metabolic processes that go on in our body, and also various wastes that make entry in our body through food or water. So all these wastes are separated from the blood, and they are separated into urine. Also the extra water and salt that we consume is also excreted along with these wastes. So excretion is one of the most important function that kidneys perform, but that's not the only function that kidneys do. They have several other important functions, like they keep your blood pressure at a normal level. So you must have observed that patients with kidney failure or patients who are on dialysis invariably are having high blood pressure. Sometimes very difficult to control high blood pressure. So kidneys keep your blood pressure at a normal level. In addition, they maintain the level of hemoglobin in your blood. For this, they synthesize a hormone called as erythropoietin, which stimulates the RBC formation and keeps your hemoglobin in a normal range. In addition, kidneys also take care of your bone health. They convert vitamin D into active vitamin D. Whatever vitamin D we take in our diet, it's not an active form of vitamin D. For it to become active, it requires a specific process in the kidney which converts the raw or inactive form of vitamin D into an active form, and then vitamin D can take care of our bone health. So this is another important function of the kidney. As I told you, there is another very important function of the kidney, that is to keep your acid base and electrolytes in balance. So what does this mean? So the acid base means the proportion of acids and base in your body, because all your cellular machineries or all your functions of the body can be performed only at a particular pH or particular level of the acid or alkali content. So to keep that pH in the normal range, kidneys make this acid base balance. Another important function, that is the electrolyte balance. So the concentration of various electrolytes like sodium, potassium, bicarbonate, chloride, so these are kept in a normal range by kidneys. So these are some of the important functions of the kidney. Now after knowing the functions of the kidney, we will come to know what are the common kidney ailments or kidney diseases. Broadly, kidney diseases are classified as acute kidney injury or chronic kidney disease. So kidney failure for that matter, like acute kidney failure or chronic kidney failure. So what is acute kidney failure? Acute kidney failure is a temporary cessation of kidney function. So temporarily kidney just shut down. So what's the cause? So many times there are several infections like dengue, malaria, leptospirosis, or for some reason if somebody is severely dehydrated like severe diarrhea, multiple vomitings, or if somebody encounters an accident and bleeds profusely, all this can lead to drop in your blood pressure and drop in the kidney function. So such patients, usually what they may require dialysis for kidney failure, but over a period of time, in 3 days or 3 weeks, they make a recovery. So this is acute kidney failure. And then there is another kind of kidney failure, that is chronic kidney disease or chronic kidney failure. So what is the cause of chronic kidney disease, or what makes kidneys damaged? So that is most common cause of chronic kidney disease today in India and across the globe is diabetes. So diabetes is the number one cause of kidney damage and kidney failure today, followed in frequency by hypertension. hypertension and diabetes are the leading causes. Then there are several others, like in our area, it's stone disease also, kidney stone disease, if not treated in time. Then there are several others like hereditary disease of the kidney, or there are some conditions in which kidney filters are damaged and protein leakage occurs. So these are usually childhood illnesses, but if they are not taken care well at that time, they can become a cause of chronic kidney disease. So these are several causes of chronic kidney disease, and many times treatment varies according to the cause. So what are symptoms, or how do we know, how do a patient knows that he has got a kidney damage? So unfortunately, there are no symptoms of kidney disease. Many times many people feel that kidney disease is characterized by swelling of feet, swelling of face, or drop in the urine output. So most of the patients unfortunately do not have any of these symptoms in the early stages of disease, and unfortunately these are the only stages in which this disease can be effectively treated, and treatment works well at these stages only. So how can one know that one has got a kidney disease or not? So only by the tests of the blood and urine one can know whether one has got a kidney disease or not in the early stages. So this doesn't mean that everybody should rush to a laboratory and check his blood and urine and sonography and find out whether he has got a kidney damage or not. So there are people who are at risk of kidney disease. So who are these people? These are people with diabetes, high blood pressure, or people with family history of kidney disease, people with stone disease, or people who had any past history of kidney damage like protein leak in the urine, or swelling of glomerular filters, or what is called as glomerulonephritis as a child. So all these people should keep a watch on their kidney function, and this is done by very simple tests that are available across the city and even at smaller places. There are simple tests on the blood, urine, and sometimes sonography, check of your blood pressure. So that's enough to know whether you have got a kidney damage, kidney disease or not. Because if you are identified at an early stage, chances that you will be successfully treated with drugs alone are very high, and then you may not have to go ever to dialysis or transplantation. But unfortunately today, most of the patients, they come in very advanced stages of kidney disease. They directly come in stage 5, wherein we don't have any other option but to start dialysis and then think of transplantation. So what precautions a person with kidney disease should take? Now, if you got to know that you have got a kidney damage, kidney disease, whatever stage 1, 2, 3, 4, what are the steps that you yourself can take to protect your kidneys and keep them functioning as long as possible? So these are very simple steps. Number 1 is do not take any over-the-counter medications. So over-the-counter medications for anything, simple headache, backache, fever. So 99% of the times these medications are kidney toxins. They are NSAIDs or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So they are almost like a poison to your kidney. If you have got already a chronic kidney disease, then these medications can push you into a dialysis requiring kidney failure in a short time. In addition, there are several other medications that increasingly now we are getting to know that they also can potentially accelerate or fast track your progress of kidney disease from stage 1 to stage 5. So as far as possible, do not take any medications by yourself. Try and avoid taking any other medications as far as possible. If they are absolutely essential, then you should consult your kidney doctor and get it checked whether they can be taken safely or not. So periodic monitoring of kidney function is very important to know whether treatment that is started is working well and any modifications in the treatments are required or not. So this periodic follow-up can vary from monthly follow-up to 2 monthly, 3 monthly or 6 monthly follow-up. So every time you will be checked physically, and also your blood and urine tests will be done. Several parameters will be checked to assess what are other important problems that kidney damage has produced, and then accordingly they will be addressed. So what are the options when one lands with kidney failure? Like unfortunately, as I told you, many patients land up at this stage and they get to know the kidney disease at this stage itself. But then several other people will progress slowly and may require what is called as renal replacement therapy. When kidney function drops below 10%, then many people will start requiring renal replacement therapy to maintain their life. So what are the options available to renal replacement? there are three basic options that are available. Broadly, there are two, that is dialysis and transplantation. So dialysis is again of two types. One is hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis, and transplantation is the third option. But then transplantation is considered as the best modality of kidney replacement or renal replacement therapy, because that will give you the highest possible quality of life for the money that you are spending. So if there is transplantation is not possible for any reason, like you don't have a donor in your family or friend, or if you are medically unfit for some reason not to go for a transplant, then you may remain on dialysis. Broadly, dialysis can be either hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis. So what is hemodialysis? Hemodialysis is a process in which blood is taken out of your body, is brought to a filter which is attached to a machine, and there the wastes are extracted out of the blood, and extra water, extra salt, that are also taken out of the blood, and then it's returned back to you. So this is in a nutshell what is called as hemodialysis or dialysis. So for this dialysis to be done effectively, safely, you require to have a dialysis access, which is considered as the lifeline of a dialysis patient, because better the access, better the chance that you will get a good dialysis, you will get a safe dialysis. So AV fistula is considered as the best vascular access for dialysis. So AV fistula is nothing but a small surgery that we make on your non-dominant hand, wherein an artery and vein is connected to each other, and then vein becomes larger, and then you can take the blood at the required speed for dialysis. So if a fistula is created, then dialysis can be performed with minimum pain, and expenses of this treatment also will be significantly lower. So we should be avoiding the catheters or tubes that are placed in your veins as far as possible. They should be the last option when fistula is impossible. So it's not that your hand will be dysfunctional or you will not be able to use it. You can carry out all the routine activities that you usually do by your hand, even if fistula is placed there. So this is hemodialysis. Generally it will be done at least 3 times a week, 4 hours each session. And then while being on dialysis, you should be in touch with your doctor to know what dietary changes you require, what medications are required to be adjusted, because many times things are different while you are not on dialysis and when you go on dialysis. As I told you, other modality of dialysis is the peritoneal dialysis. This dialysis can be performed at home, for which you will be given appropriate essential training. What we do in this peritoneal dialysis is we place a catheter in your peritoneal or abdominal cavity. That catheter once placed is a permanent catheter. It need not be replaced again and again like what dialysis catheter, hemodialysis catheter require. So fluid is placed, about 2 to 2.5 liters of fluid is put in the peritoneal cavity, and then the waste from your blood will move into the fluid. This fluid will be taken out after 4 to 6 hours, which will carry along with it the extra salt, water and wastes from your body. So this procedure will be done about 2 to 3 times in a day and once at the night. So putting in requires about 5 to 10 minutes, taking out the fluid requires another 5-10 minutes. So in between, when fluid is in the cavity, abdominal cavity, you can do whatever your routine activities are, and you need not be at in bed while fluid is in the cavity, abdominal cavity. So both the dialysis are equally effective. There is no age, like there are several specific patient related factors, like what is your lifestyle, whether time schedule of hemodialysis suits you, whether you stay nearby a dialysis center or you are in a far off place where hemodialysis is not easily available. So there are several other factors that will be important in choosing the modality of dialysis. So this was all about basic kidney function, kidney disease, what precautions you should take, what tests we do, and what are the options available when your kidneys are diseased. Thank you so much.